Indiana at Maryland. That was bad on bad on bad. But we did get the good Xavier Johnson. It happens once a season, every once in a while. Let's get into talking about this Maryland game.
Walker 3 on the way. Oh!
Hello, guys, and thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection, the only show on YouTube where all my scripts are written by a monkey and a chicken nugget. So we saw a lot of I don't know what. And you know what? I'm getting ready to do the show while I'm watching the game, and I'm watching the whole first half, and you look back at the statistics of the first half and you're thinking, this is what I thought at halftime. This was one of the best shooting performances they've really had from the outside. They were getting killed in the paint, which is really what this team has done all year, is just try to shove the ball down in the paint over and over and over again. Ware, who had a huge game in the last game, is completely non-existent and just played completely awful in the first half. And then we go to halftime, and then at some point in this game, Maryland just really started to circle the toilet bowl. I mean, this is on senior night at the Verizon Center. You would think Maryland having a lead like this, but Indiana gives up 45 points in the first half of this game. And then Maryland, as if to one up the Hoosiers from being like, no, not way so fast. We're a worse defensive team than you are. And Maryland gives up 50 in the second half to relinquish this game to the Hoosiers. The Hoosiers get a big win. You know, I'm going to say here and say, I had all these rants lined up. I'm like, you know what? It's just another way where, Ware played well the last game and he crapped the bed this game. I know I listened to the great Kent Sterling. You don't argue with winning. Although I do argue with it some of the time because, you know what, that was Bob Knight's way, and that's our way too sometimes. But this game, it was felt good to see the guys out there, Galloway and Xavier Johnson. And I gotta say, I mean, the elbow to the face on Xavier Johnson, I thought they would review that and call that a flagrant foul. I mean, I've seen many plays like that throughout the season that are inadvertent in that same way that get reviewed and get called. That was just kind of a sequence there where when Indiana was coming back, that could have been really bad for Maryland. And then they took the 2 points away that Ware put the basket in, which was kind of bogus too. It kind of like by elbowing him in the face, he kind of bailed himself out on the whole defensive set right there. But that was just my opinion of that. You know what? And that's just my opinion. Many people I know thought, well, it wasn't a flagrant foul, but I will say this. Xavier Johnson did a better job in this game of keeping his composure when people were getting under his skin, or that happened there. And at times before, we've seen him completely lose it. And he came out in this game and totally redeemed himself. So this was the good Xavier Johnson. Even though the first half, I felt like he made one really, really nice pass in the first half to Walker. I think that is where Xavier Johnson gets this team going more than Galloway does. His ability to throw the cross-court pass in the fast break is just much better than Galloway, Cups. I mean, Cups came out, I will say, him getting that 5 points early, Indiana looked like they were not going to be scared to take a three-pointer if they caught the ball and they were wide open. Galloway drove in the lane one time, kicked it out to Leo, got a three. And Baco didn't seem scared to shoot threes. So what is happening here? Is the coaching staff changing some of what's going on? Or are the players just kind of like at the point in the season where they're like, this season's over. I don't care what happens. I'm going to shoot the shot if I'm open. I'm going to do this if I'm open. We really don't know exactly. They were running some double ball screens off of the high side, and then when they were getting the ball, driving off of those double ball screens and getting the ball on the weak side, Maryland was only having one defender on that weak side, which was leaving normally a shooter, which was Mbako or whoever was on that weak side. When they got off that double ball screen, you could get in the lane and cut out, and that guy was going to be wide open. nearly every single time. So that started working for the Hoosiers in the second half. And then we saw Maryland. They were just unraveling their own sweatshirt from the bottom up and just really crapping all over themselves. Maryland, they stink at shooting 3-pointers. They have that Reese can be kind of a load a little bit on the inside. I mean, I've always thought that guy from watching him play that he has much more potential to become a great player than how he plays on Maryland. But for the most part, he was like kept under wraps in the second half, and Maryland's shooting and driving and everything in the second half just completely fell apart. I believe Indiana, it was kind of hard to tell. Maryland was making a lot of mistakes out there, but Indiana's defense, they gave up 45 in the first half, and then you come out, you only give up 35 in the second half. So, I mean, a much better effort there. The 35 points, that's just about average, but giving up 45 to Maryland in the first half is just abysmal because, they have been, they're in the bottom 4 of the Big Ten. They are very sucky. We know that. They suck very badly. And every night, they're right there with Indiana teetering. And I thought this could go really one of two ways. And Indiana, there was a point there in the second half when Indiana was down, and this was maybe about the 13 or 15 minute mark, and I thought, they're going to get blown out in this game. This game is just going to be another, they're going to get blown out by 20 points. But they found it. They found another gear, and Mbako was huge. And I know the announcers were saying how, all these NBA scouts there and everything. Well, Mbako just hit a lot of 3-pointers and played really his best game in front of all these NBA scouts. So will he be back next year? Maybe not. This is going to be, he could be a lottery pick. That definitely is there. Let's look at a couple of these stats. So, Jameer Young, he got 22 and Reese got 13 for them. And then that Long, who was a senior who started, Jordan Geronimo with 9 points. What did you think of Jordan Geronimo? And if this is your first time here, welcome to Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. This is where the most passionate Indiana Hoosiers fans and Colts fans come to talk about the game. So if this is your first time here, subscribe to the channel, join the rocket ship. Thank you so much for joining, and leave a comment down below. Tell me what you thought of the game. Tell me what you thought of Jordan Geronimo, because early on in the game, I thought, I know I talked to my dad at halftime and I was like, Geronimo, he's the same kind of confused player. He came out in the second half and actually made a couple of nice drives, and I thought, well, maybe he's an improving player. But then right after that, he made a couple of other bonehead plays that just a couple of spots on offense where he just seems so out of sorts. Like, should I set a screen? Where'd I go here? He doesn't know where to go. And so I thought, you know what? No, he's the same player. I don't know if he's just got ants in his pants out there, and that's just all there is to it. I like the guy, and I really thought one of the best, most athletic people we've ever seen in a basketball uniform. But as we all know, it takes a lot more than just athletic ability to go out there and win a basketball game. Mbako ends up with 24. Galloway ends up with 12. Ware ends up with 9. Ware came on late and then got a couple of lobs around the basket. And then also Galloway late had another nice, and I talked about this in the last episode, just, they dropped the coverage back and Galloway puts that floater in. They're going to give that to you and you're going to drive in the lane and it's going to be open. You might as well make that happen. And then he went to Ware a couple of times down low, got the ball over the top, and Ware was able to collect and gather. Did Ware travel on that one play? I thought he took 3 steps, but they were 3 pretty big steps. He really looks awkward in the open court when he has to do something like that, where he's got to make some basketball moves like that. And I don't know if his leg is still bothering him or that lower leg injury or what, but that did look kind of awkward. He made the move. This guy can take 2 steps from the 3-point line and dunk it pretty much, but that was critical. Just overall, it's good to see them get the win. none of my thoughts on Mike Woodson or the team. I see they're running some more different types of action. It's kind of hard to tell if that's the coaching staff is changing some of this stuff up, or if it's actually the players are just like Galloway and Xavier Johnson. These are going to be their last few games unless Galloway comes back or Leo. So, I mean, are they just playing freer because it's in the last few games and they've literally crapped the bed all year, and there's no better time if you're going to play free? You might as well do it in some of your last games, because this is it, folks. This is it. These guys, Xavier Johnson, we know for sure he's going to be gone. Some of these other guys, they could all be gone. Mbaka, Ware, I mean, Renew probably coming back, but many people think he's going to transfer. Good to see the Hoosiers get the victory. To take from this game, it's like when Xavier Johnson goes out there and he actually plays within himself and plays within the team and as part of the game, and he took an elbow to the chops, and he didn't get out of control, and he didn't start, trying to punch somebody in the nuts or do all this crazy hand movements and stuff. So this is what the team could look like if they had a point guard that played better than what we've had all season. You can tell it's glaring that we just don't have a point guard out there, and Galloway handled the ball a lot. But I think right now, Xavier Johnson coming off the bench maybe is a better role for him. And we'll see going forward. I mean, Indiana, this is not a time to overreact about Indiana, because they play at Minnesota. They got to win that game. So, if they could win at Minnesota and beat a team that's actually playing well, because let's face it, Maryland this year, they are just a complete dumpster fire. I'm not going to over-exaggerate any of this that Indiana came back. I mean, it's just really a travesty that you're playing that bad of a team. I know you're playing on the road, but it's like you got down by 15 to them. And Indiana does this game after game after game after game with Mike Woodson. It's like they get down by 15 points. They get down big time. It's like something different in every game. But I do want to mention this. Free throw shooting in this game. They were, I think, 14 of 17. The free throw shooting suddenly out of nowhere has just gotten better. And I don't know why that is. I don't know what's going on, but definitely huge to see. I mean, I've said this in the last few weeks. If they could hit at least 5 or 6 3-pointers a game, and they hit 7 in this game, and then make at least 7, like if you're 75% from the free throw line, Indiana would have like about 3-4 more wins under their belt right now against some of these crap teams, and we wouldn't have all this mess with everybody wanting to get rid of the coach and all this stuff if they were just halfway decent at a few different things. Rebounding, free throws, shooting. I mean, shooting is the main thing in basketball. You're either good at shooting or you're going to lose a lot of games. And we saw what it looked like when a guy like Mbaka goes out there and makes shots. The game suddenly seems a lot easier because you got somebody out there. The game is about making shots. The game is about putting the ball in the basket, right? So we saw that out of Mbaka. Hopefully he comes back. I would like to see Mbaka play another year. I do like this guy. He's like the Terminator out there. Like his movements and his body movements, he seems like at any time he could just go off and just destroy somebody. Take that for what it is. I don't know what that means, but it's just what I get from watching him. He could be a totally different guy if I meet him in person, but you are in basketball, you are what we perceive you to be on TV. And so, yeah, he seems like the Terminator to me, just how he moves. But great win for the Hoosiers. Finally got it done. Thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.